What's up, the trans brothers? So, this week's subject is going to be um, being transgender and religion. So, I'm going to try to tackle this subject as best as I can. So, the basis of it is it's kind of like what does you, the reli- I'm gonna just talk about Judaism because I don't really know about other religions. So I guess I can say, what does my religion believe um, about being transgender, and I'm gonna also talk about how religious I am and stuff. So I guess that's the basis of what we can do with this subject. So there's a matter to that, and as you can see, my hair is growing out nuts in many places. So first off is what does my religion think of people who are transgender? As of many religion that thinks of anything that is not straight is pretty much against it. In Judaism, I don't know how it is in other religions. It doesn't really mention about being transgender. It does mention in the Torah of being an MTF, not an FTM. I don't know why. It just is mentioned, and an FTM is not ever mentioned, and it's very briefly mentioned. But as from our forefathers, basically, we do know that it is not allowed. It goes hand in hand with being gay. You're not allowed to be gay, um, which is kind of a whole contradictory, complicated thing. But either way, so that's the simple thing with religion. What do I do to change that to simply say is I talk about um, I grew up Jewish Orthodox, so this is where I am religion wise. I grew up Jewish Orthodox. I am what you consider conservadox. So what I do is, um, so I'm close, like through to kind of give you a little bit of background about my religious history. Is that when I was in high school, I started thinking, well, I was in a all girls Jewish school, and I started thinking, well, I can't be religious. So I started becoming less religious in high school. When I got out of high school, that's when I would, what Jewish people call, going off the derech, or basically becoming not religious. So I stopped being religious when I was about 19. And then for about a few years, I wasn't religious. And if anybody asked me, what was your religion? I would say, well, I'm agnostic. Because I wasn't at the point of being atheist. I didn't believe in nothing. But I believed in something, and I didn't know what. Then, when I figured out I was transgender, that's kind of when religion rekindled in my life. And it's kind of interesting with me because I always knew for me that I never wanted to be Muslim, I never wanted to be Christian, but there was some other religions that were potentials for me. And the main other religion that was a potential for me was Buddhism. So the main religions for me that I would either go back to Judaism or be Buddhist. Um, so before I fully came out and fully accepted myself as transgender, I was on this quest of, well, maybe I'm Buddhist. Maybe not Buddhist, but maybe I am, but maybe I should be Buddhist. So I seriously seek that through medically transitioning. So I've only been on testosterone and got my name legally changed. That's the only thing in my transition. Working on trying to potentially get histo, but that's another story. It's helped me find my place in religion. So through medically transitioning, I realized that Judaism was the right religion for me, and that Buddhism was not right for me. So took that. Now I also realized that I had to take one step at a time of realizing where in the religious spectrum, I guess you can say, um, did I fit? Because I don't, like, in all honesty, like, I knew I could never go back to being Orthodox, but I didn't know, should I be conservative, should I be conservative, reform? So I didn't know where. So it took me a while to figure that out, and I had to give myself time, and I knew that I had to take my health and some other things a step ahead before religion. That's the merit to that. So that gives you a little explanation of where I am now. I am more conservative. So there's so basically I'm more religious than a conservative person, but I'm less religious than an Orthodox person, so I'm kind of like in the middle. Um, a lot of people say I'm kind of just like Judaism-wise, I'm just shy, but like it's hard because there's not really a word that can explain it. There's no term to explain it. But either way, going on, I how I change the community, the Jewish community, with being transgender, is that I'm always very outspoken of my history. I'm always very basically of me being Jewish Orthodox, and I'm very outspoken that I'm a Jewish transgender person. Um, and I always make sure that when I'm given the opportunity to have basically to do advocacy work for especially Jewish trans or Jewish LGBTQ LMNOP, I do so. And I feel it's a very important thing because there's not enough awareness in the Jewish community of it. Like, there's one really good movie, and they don't include trans people, but it's still a very good movie. So if anybody wants to watch it, please do so. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. I think it's called can't remember, but it's basically talking about religious Jews that are LGBT. And why can I think of it? I don't know. I'll get it for you right now. But so whenever I get the opportunity to advocate, I do so. Whenever I get the opportunity to speak about my history, I do so. Okay, I got the name. It's called Trembling Before God. So if anybody wants to watch it, really, really good documentary. Really good. Recommend anybody. I'm actually personally going to be working on a documentary, and I'll talk about that in a second. But that's one thing. And then like I also, if I have the opportunity to educate people how there are transgender people who are Jewish and who are Orthodox and who are actually there are people that are not straight as well who are Jewish and Orthodox. I know this is not exactly part of the subject, um, and that are Jewish, I do so. And I think that's a key thing that we need to do no matter what a religion is to educate people that there are people who are transgender of every race, religion, culture, ethnicity, and religion, no matter if they like it or not. And sadly, because of certain practices, people feel shunned, people feel turned away from their community because of it. And I'm not going to deny that because of how I grew up and because of how my community was, the Jewish community was to me. It's not going to be every community. I'm not going to deny that not every Jewish community is going to be this way. But for where I grew up and how I grew up, it was for me that I felt very turned away. For if I came out as anything but straight, that they wouldn't accept me. And especially now being transgender, that if they knew, they wouldn't accept me. Which is why I've taken certain precautions with name change and whatnot. With my YouTube videos, I'm not going to take them down or anything after I fully transition. But either way, now documentary part, I'm actually planning in order to go on to the education part is I plan to make a documentary before the day I die about transgender Jewish people, and especially pretty much someone who was either used to be Orthodox and now not an Orthodox anymore and are transgender, or became Orthodox, something to that extent. And I feel that's a very important documentary that needs to be done. So one day when I get money after I work and whatnot, I'm going to be taking classes to learn how to do so and actually make this documentary. Even if it's not the greatest documentary, it's something better than nothing. And that's kind of my mentality, is that if there's something out there, if some sort of awareness, it's better than no awareness, no matter if it's negative or whatnot. That's the gist of it. Alright, so I'll see you guys soon.